Hi, I'm Hillary. Before I dive into my story, please make sure to like and subscribe for more insights into my life journey. Now, let's get into the heart of the tale. Living with Sean, the magnetic CEO whose charm only masked his deeper narcissism, I found myself in a world where luxury was abundant, but air was scarce. Every evening was an event, every outing a spectacle. Sean, do we really need another gala this week? I'd ask, hoping for a quiet night in. Oh, Hillary, you know how these things go. It's not just about showing up, it's about being seen. It's all part of the game. His words, always so dismissive, made me feel like just another accessory in his high-powered life. One particularly glittering Saturday, we were at one of those endless social gatherings where Sean could shine. Surrounded by the elite, he thrived, but I could only shrink. That's when Lisa, my best friend, or so I thought, floated over, her laughter mingling with the clink of expensive glass. "You look a bit out of it, Hillary. Come, let's find you some champagne." As we navigated through the sea of guests, I noticed how her arm slipped naturally through Sean's, how he leaned in to catch her words. "You really get this whole circus, Lisa. Hillary here could never quite grasp it." Feeling like a spectator in my marriage, I tried to dismiss the growing pit in my stomach. "It's all just a bit overwhelming at times," I said, my voice nearly lost in the music. "You'll get used to it, Hillary. It's all about survival of the fittest," Lisa replied, her eyes sparkling a bit too brightly. Months rolled by, and the distance between Sean and me grew. I found solace in small things, quiet mornings in the garden, the rare days when Sean left for trips without me. But even those days were poisoned, knowing Lisa often accompanied him under the guise of business. One day I overheard him on the phone. "No, Lisa is the one who understands the stakes. She's not just hanging on my arm. She's walking alongside me. That's what I need." My heart sank as their laughter echoed through the sleek halls of our home. I realized then that I wasn't just living on the sidelines of Sean's life. I was barely in the game. But this game, I wasn't sure I wanted to win anymore. Dinner that night was silent but for the clinking of cutlery.
Sean, are we okay? I finally dared to ask. We're fine, Hillary. You just need to relax more. You're taking all this too seriously. His nonchalance stung, his words dismissing not just my concerns, but my very presence. As I lay in bed that night, the mansion felt more like a gilded cage. I knew something had to change. I needed to find my way out, not just for my peace, but for my very sense of self. It was then I began to plot my escape, not from just Sean, but from the life that was suffocating me under its glittering surface. We need to talk about the Zurich account, and I can't find those figures anywhere. Hillary, have you seen them? At the fundraiser that night, Sean's question was less about needing my help and more about signaling to Lisa and everyone else that I was just another piece of the scenery. Actually, Sean, I haven't, but let me help you look. As I flipped through the documents, Sean laughed, a sound that seemed to fill the room. You see, folks, always so helpful but never really knows what's going on, like an NPC in my game. The laughter that followed, from lips I had kissed and hands I had shaken, cut deeper than any sharp word Sean could have spoken. But it was Lisa's smirk, hidden behind her champagne glass, that turned the sting into something fiercer. The evening dragged on, the weight of Sean's words pressing down on me like the diamonds around my neck. I needed air, space, anything that wasn't this room. Escaping to the balcony, I leaned against the cool railing, trying to gather my scattered thoughts. What's a smart girl like you doing out here all alone? The voice belonged to Eric, a friend of Sean's from college, who had always been kind to me. His genuine concern was a balm to the evening's burns. Just needed a breath of fresh air. It gets a bit much in there. I can imagine, especially with Sean being, well, Sean. His words were a gentle nudge, an invitation to share more than just the cool night air. It's not just Sean, I confessed, the words tasting bitter. Lisa is in on it too. I think there's something going on between them. Hillary, I'm so sorry. I didn't want to say anything, but I think you should know there have been rumors. Lisa and Sean have been seen together a lot more than just at work. The confirmation shattered the last of my denial. The cool facade I had maintained all evening crumbled, and I allowed myself a moment to just feel the sting of betrayal. Returning inside, I found Sean and Lisa laughing over a shared joke, their heads close together, the picture of intimacy. My heart raced with a mix of hurt and anger. "Sean, can we talk in private?" "Not now, Hillary. Can't you see I'm busy?" His dismissive wave, the casual cruelty of it, was a slap across my face. That moment crystallized everything. The humiliation, the betrayal, it wasn't just tonight. It was every whispered phone call, every sudden business trip, every time Lisa had ever taken my place by his side. I walked away from them, from the laughter and the lies. I walked until the cool marble of our foyer felt like the tiles of a different world. I needed to think, to plan. If Sean and Lisa thought they could play me as a minor character in their drama, they were mistaken. Tonight, the game changed, and this time I was writing the rules. In the stillness of our opulent living room, the morning sun casting harsh lines across the marble, I found the courage to confront Sean. He was buried in paperwork, his forehead creased with unusual worry. "What's all this, Sean? You look worried more than usual." "It's the company, Hillary. We're under some scrutiny." "Scrutiny? What kind of scrutiny?" "Financial, okay? It's not something you need to worry about." But I did worry. Not for him, but for how this might be my chance to escape the tangled web he'd woven around me. "Is it serious?" "It's manageable, Hillary. Everything is under control." His reassurance did nothing to ease the tension in the air, thick and suffocating, like the fog that settles over the city in the early hours. Later that day, at the cafe where Lisa and I used to share confidences, I confronted her. She was a shadow of the vibrant conspirator I had seen at the gala, her eyes darting nervously around the room. "Lisa, how long? How long have you and Sean been making a fool of me?" Her laugh was hollow, the sound of desperation clinging to fading dreams. "It's not like that, Hillary. It just happened. Just happened. You think you can steal my life and tell me it just happened?" Her facade cracked, the luxury she had draped herself in, as flimsy as the tissue she now twisted in her hands. "Hillary, I'm in over my head. This isn't what I thought it would be. His world, it's all collapsing and I don't know if I can keep up." "Keep up with a sinking ship? You're welcome to it, Lisa." Leaving her to her regrets, I walked out into the crisp air, the last pieces of my loyalty to both of them left behind in the crumpled napkins and spilled coffee. News of the investigation spread like wildfire, the kind of scandal that the press devoured with glee. Sean's company, once a titan in the industry, was now hemorrhaging credibility and cash. Investors pulled out, stocks plummeted, and Sean, the unshakable CEO, finally looked defeated. One evening, as the sky turned a bruised purple, Sean returned home, the weight of his empire's collapse evident in his slumped shoulders. "This is a mess, Hillary. I don't know if I can fix it." "Maybe it's not meant to be fixed, Sean. Maybe it's time to let go." His gaze, usually so piercing, now dodged mine, the reality of his failure too much to bear. I watched as the man who thought he could control everything realized he controlled nothing. In the quiet aftermath, the house no longer felt like a cage but a starting block. As Sean's world fell apart, mine was just beginning to open up. No longer overshadowed by his grandeur or Lisa's deceit, I was ready to reclaim my life, my identity, and my future. The fall of their empire was the rise of my independence. The dust was still settling from the collapse of Sean's empire, and as it cleared, I began laying the groundwork for my new life. I had always been more than just an accessory in Sean's shadow, and it was time the world saw that. Sitting across from my lawyer in the stark light of his office, I laid out my plan. Sean underestimated me, thinking he could hide assets, but I made moves he never saw coming. "And you're sure about this?" my lawyer asked, eyebrows raised in both skepticism and admiration. "Yes, absolutely. I want to move forward with the divorce and claim the investment I made early in our marriage. It's in my name, and he never bothered to look at it." As we dove into the legalities, I felt a surge of empowerment. This wasn't just about financial security. It was reclaiming my agency, something Sean had tried to stifle under his grandiose lifestyle. Weeks passed, filled with meetings and negotiations. Sean, caught in the maelstrom of his failing company, barely noticed as I methodically secured my future. By the time he realized, papers were served, leaving him reeling. Why are you doing this, Hillary? This is cold, even for you. This isn't cold, Sean. It's fair. I'm taking what's mine and leaving you to your chaos. You chose this path, not me. My words were sharp, a contrast to the years of softening my voice to suit his ego. I watched as he struggled to grasp the reversal of our roles, from puppeteer to puppet. With the divorce proceedings in motion, I turned my focus to the investment I had wisely made, a boutique hotel that had quietly flourished away from Sean's recklessness. Managing it gave me a purpose and a peace that Sean's luxurious traps never could. I renovated the hotel, infusing it with the warmth and authenticity I had once reserved for my marriage. Guests began to notice, and so did the press. "Hillary turns hardship into hotel haven," one headline read. The publicity was not just a business boost, it was a personal vindication. Through it all, I rebuilt relationships that Sean's presence had strained. My old friends welcomed me back, their support a stark contrast to the conditional alliances of Sean's social circles. One evening, as I walked through the hotel, adjusting a painting here, fluffing a pillow there, I realized how far I had come. The hotel wasn't just a business. It was a symbol of my journey from Sean's shadow to my spotlight. In this new space I created, filled with light and laughter, I found not just success, but a deeper joy. My life was finally my own, crafted not from Sean's leftovers, but from my resilience and resolve. As I laid plans for the future, the bitterness of the past dissolved, leaving space for new beginnings. The final papers of the divorce arrived on a sunny morning, the kind that seemed to promise new beginnings. As I held the documents in my hands, a sense of closure washed over me. Sean and his chaotic world were officially behind me now. The chains of that gilded cage had not only been unlocked, but melted down into the foundation of something new, something wholly mine. Turning my attention to the bustling lobby of my hotel, I smiled at the sight. Families and couples laughing, business people nodding along to a successful meeting. It was a microcosm of life, vibrant and ever-changing. This hotel, once just an investment, had become a refuge, a place where I could channel my passions and creativity without restraint. News of Sean's bankruptcy had made its way through the grapevine. His empire, unable to withstand the scrutiny and the debts, had crumbled. Meanwhile, Lisa, who had once held herself so high, now found the doors of high society shut in her face. The alliances she had depended on dissipated when the money evaporated, leaving her adrift in a reality she was ill-prepared to navigate. As I walked through the newly renovated halls of my hotel, each piece of decor, each smiling employee, reinforced the contrast between my thriving environment and the ruins of Sean's making. I had not just survived, I had thrived, building a life rich in community and purpose. In the evenings, I would often sit by the rooftop garden, a space I had personally designed to reflect the tranquility I now held dear. The city lights twinkled below, a stark contrast to the stars above, and I found peace in the balance between them. It was here that I met James, a writer who sought the quiet of my hotel to pen his novels. Our conversations, often spilling into the late hours, were filled with laughter and insights, a mutual exchange of stories and dreams. "Hillary, how did you do it? Turn everything around so completely?" James asked one night, his eyes curious. "It wasn't overnight, James. It was one decision at a time, one day at a time. When everything you thought was stable falls apart, you have two choices: fall with it or build something new on the ruins." His nod was thoughtful, appreciative of the resilience it took not just to rebuild, but to transform. As the season changed, bringing crisp air and golden leaves, my hotel hosted a community event celebrating local artists and craftsmen. The joy in these connections, these small moments of celebration, underscored the vast difference between my past life under Sean's shadow and my new world filled with light and community. Reflecting on my journey, I realized that the most profound changes often come from the deepest hurts. Fate hadn't just punished Sean and Lisa, it had pushed me to rediscover my strength and independence. Looking ahead, I saw not a horizon marred by the storms of the past, but one illuminated by the promise of new adventures, new stories. The future was mine to shape, and it was filled with endless possibilities. As our story of resilience and reclaiming personal power comes to a close, I want to hear from you. Hillary found her strength and independence by building something beautiful from the ruins of her past. Do you think that personal betrayals and hardships can be transformed into opportunities for growth, or do they leave lasting scars that hold us back? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey through Hillary's story, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring stories like this. Your support helps us bring more content that matters to you. Let's keep the conversation going and build a community that thrives on sharing and growth. Thank you for watching.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. طبعا شفتوا القصة، والقصة أكيد إن شاء الله بإذن الله تكون عجبتكم وتنال إعجابكم، وبإذن الله كده إن شاء الله كل يوم في نفس الميعاد هيبقى فيه قصة جديدة.